Yo, folks, what is up, what is up, what is up? Welcome back to the cacophony of sports symphony that is known as Avry Sports Show. Tape delayed tonight, having issues on livestream.com, but that seems to always have been the theme of Avry Sports Show, issues on different sites. But you know what? We find a way to make the show go on here in the cavernous caves of Averyland. Anyway, topics to get to are top stories. The Chicago Blackhawks have knocked off the Boston Bruins in 6 games. The Hawks win their second cup in 4 years in some of the most dramatic fashion you will ever see in a Stanley Cup final. Dave Bolland and Brian Bickle with 2 huge goals 17 seconds apart. We all thought that this series was going to go to a game 7. Everyone thought that. Me, your dog, your auntie, your grandma, your pet snake. Not many thought Chicago would have this series wrapped up last night, but he did. And kudos to this team not giving up at all. No, not at all. It was Boston, if anything, more or less. They looked like they're the ones who gave up, leaving Tuukka Rask more or less out to dry in that final minute of play. And you have to love Dave Bolland's celebration. The dude, after he scored, basically thought the game was done. Threw his gloves to the ice and was celebrating. There was still a minute to go. And credit Chicago for hanging on and getting that win. Fantastic stuff. And of course, no surprise that the Conn Smythe went to Patrick Kane. Well-deserving playoffs for him. And Corey Crawford finally gets his name on the Stanley Cup after being the third-string goalie for Chicago back when he won it, knocking off Philadelphia. He didn't get his name on the cup. He didn't play enough games. But Crawford was the hero. He propelled the Chicago team to as far as they could go, knocking off LA, getting big wins all postseason long. Good stuff for him. And you know what? I think Boston, this is a team. They're going to be back in the Eastern Conference. They're going to return. They have too many guns to not return to the Stanley Cup Finals. And Lucic, Sagan, you got Raskin Net. You have Jaromir Jagr, who I think will be back for 2 or 3 more seasons. I also do think that will happen with the ageless wonder of Jaromir Jagr, who was traded from Dallas to Boston. I felt Jagr was going to stay in Dallas for a bit. I didn't think he'd leave. I didn't think Dallas would let go of him that quick, but it happened. And the man ends up in Boston, makes it to the Cup Finals, and plays his heart out. Unfortunately, Jaromir Jagr did not get a sip of Lord Stanley's mug. It didn't happen for him. But you know what? Such is life in the world of hockey. Such is life. Either way, great series. One of the best ones we've seen in a very long time. And ratings-wise, it was an absolute success, getting over 4 million viewers in this series. A ratings gem. NBC absolutely loving the fact it was Boston, Chicago. 2 top-ranked cities in Nielsen rating areas. Boston and Chicago couldn't have anything better for the markets in America. Great stuff for them. If it was Boston and LA, they'd have been going, oh boy, woo! They'd have been cheering even more if it was a Boston and LA series. Or even New York and LA. The Rangers and Los Angeles, for them, I'm sure, would have just been pop the champagne bottles and let's go home because we're going to rake in some dough with some playoff hockey. Let me guarantee you that. I'm sure that's how they were feeling in the offices in New York on Rockefeller Plaza. And with more NHL talk, we have to discuss the fact that the Phoenix Coyotes are still in Phoenix. Before we jump to our next top story, Doc Rivers in the NBA going to the LA Clippers. Before we get to Doc Rivers, we have to mention the Phoenix Coyotes are still in Phoenix. There's talks moving to Seattle. And do it already. Just take care of it. Because you have an arena. And yes, Key Arena. Is it old? Yes, it is. Is the NHL ready for a long period of time? No, it is not. It'll have to be replaced. But you have it there. You have a fan base. The Pacific Northwest loves hockey. You have a geographical rival that is best reflective of being one that can match up with Vancouver. Great border rivalry. You can have Seattle-Vancouver. It can work. So why give Glendale 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 chances when they all fall through. Einstein once said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, and hoping that an owner comes to Glendale to save this team over and over again is insanity in my mind. I think many would agree with me in that assessment. Time to cut your losses, NHL. Pack this team up, get into Chris Hansen, and call them the Seattle Starbucks, or whatever they're going to call this team, to play out of Key West until they get a new arena ready for around 2016. It's about time. Gotta know when to say when. They knew when to say when with the Thrashers, and it is now time to pack it in with the Phoenix Coyotes. You can only go on for so long. You can only drag your feet on for so long on this situation when you have to cut the cord. Some days you can't win every battle, Gary. And this one battle I do not see you winning. Now, to the NBA. Glenn Doc Rivers, the new coach of the LA Clippers. I gotta say this. I heard it was when I first heard that Vin Del Negro was out, I still thought, wow, that's interesting. You fire a coach after... Because to me, firing a coach in any other city in the NBA, first round playoff exit, yeah, you didn't get advanced far. But the LA Clippers, this is a team that has had generations of bad basketball over and over and over again. Awful basketball. I give Vin Del Negro credit for helping this team become a 50-win club consistently. Look at what they have in LA with Jordan, with Blake Griffin, Chris Paul. And now Chris Paul is probably going to stay because of bringing in Glenn Rivers to be the head coach. This Clippers team, for eons and eons and eons, has been bad with the occasional playoff appearance where they're swept in 4 or 3 games. Back when they used to have the best of 5 format in the first round. This is a team, if you can get the Clippers as a 52 to 55 win team, give that man an extension. Out in the playoffs in the first round, yes, that sucks. But to be a coach under Donald Sterling, you need to keep your job. Let's see what Glenn Rivers can bring to this team. And it's even more of a shame because now this truly does signify the end of the Boston Celtics. Because Kevin Garnett was rumored to go to LA, also didn't happen. And then you heard stories about Rivers and Rondo were fighting in team meetings. And basically, Doc Rivers wanted to punch out Rajon Rondo. Rondo was swearing at Rivers. It was a mess in Boston. And after losing to the Knicks in the playoffs, you now know that Boston is done. You know this can't go on. This cannot go on anymore. The Celtics are finished. This era, the big 3 time is done. It's going to be Paul Pierce. Even Paul Pierce. What's his future have? Paul Pierce is no young bird. He's not a spring chicken anymore. The knees are getting more sore. The back's getting sore. Is the shot still there? Yeah. Is he still the leader? Yes. But for how much longer? Kevin Garnett, he's always hinting at retirement. Well, this year, will we see in the fall before camp opens up? Do we see him retire? Who knows? But for Boston Celtics fans, it's going to be an interesting offseason. Let me tell you that much. It is going to be so very interesting. The guard is shifting. But will Boston be a basement team? No, I don't think so. They're good enough to still be a 7 or 8 seeded team in the NBA. They're not going to plummet and be a 25-win team like they were back in the mid-90s in the ML Carr, Rick Pitino days. And those were some awful days when the only guy scoring was Antoine Walker. Like, I'm serious. That was the only guy scoring. If you remember those days, it was him in a plastic bag as a starting forwards on those Celtic teams that were just absolutely nonsense. Anyway, we'll take a break, come right back, and we'll discuss the Toronto Blue Jays and their 11-game winning streak coming to an end. But hey, what a streak it was to put this team back over 500. Hope is back in Toronto for this baseball club.